Hi everyone, I am back from my June 5th sailing on the Allure of the Seas, and I wanted to wait a little while to kind of gather my thoughts and figure out what I really thought about the ship and the sailing before I gave my overall review. So let's get into it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So these are things that I liked, loved, and loathed about the Allure of the Seas. So the first thing, number one, is I really liked the ship. I thought that the ship itself was beautiful. It is huge. So if you don't want to go on a huge ship, then Allure is definitely not the one for you, because it is the largest cruising ship in service right now. So if you don't like massive, huge ships, then I definitely would not go for the Allure. I did like, though, even though that the ship was really large, it was easy to find things and to get around because everything is split up into neighborhoods like Central Park, Boardwalk, Promenade. So it's really easy to get around, and if you need to meet part of your group, you can say, hey, let's meet at 8 o'clock at Central Park, and everyone kind of will know where that is. So that is definitely a plus for being on the ship. The one thing I didn't like, which some people might like, is that it doesn't feel like you're on a ship. So for people who maybe are new to cruising or don't really like the feel of being on a ship, this will work great for you. I personally like to see the ocean and experience the ocean breeze when I'm on the ship. And unless you're on the top decks, or if you have a balcony, you don't really get to experience that when you're in the ship in some of these neighborhoods, because everything is very insular. So when you're in Central Park, you're in this outdoor space, yet on both sides you have, it goes all the way up, and there are cabins and balconies up there, and it feels almost more like you're in a hotel rather than a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. As I said, I've been on other ships. I personally like to have those open air spaces where you can kind of sit and watch the ocean. And unless you're on the top decks, which can get a little bit noisy, although there are certain areas where you can kind of sneak away, you don't really get that feeling. So if you like that feeling and you're planning a cruise on an Oasis class ship, I would definitely recommend a balcony that is facing the ocean. So you definitely want to take a look at those, because if you're facing the interior, you're facing the interior of basically like a courtyard. Another thing I liked was the food. I thought the food in all of the complimentary venues was very good. I thought that the main dining room had some great selections. Everybody in our party was very happy with the food and the variety. I tend to always go for the fish when I'm on cruises because I don't make as much fish at home, and sometimes it's a little bit harder to prepare, and everything was always prepared very well. Everything was delicious. Sometimes the service was a little bit slow, but that's just the main dining room. So if you're not prepared to spend 2+ hours in the dining room eating, then definitely go someplace like the Windjammer or one of the other complimentary places for a more quick service type deal. The Windjammer I thought was really good. It had a great variety. It changed a lot throughout the cruise. The space itself was a bit small for the amount of people, so it could feel a bit crowded. And I thought it was really weird that they didn't have ice cream machines at the Windjammer. And for a cruise ship that boasted the most number of ice cream dispensers at sea, I had ice cream once on this entire cruise, and it was on the first day when my kids brought me a cone, because otherwise the lines for the ice cream were so long, or it was closed. So a lot of them were on the the pool decks. So you really didn't get a chance to really get it unless you were on the pool deck, and some of the times were very short. So I know some of it might be supply chain issues or just lack of having people who are just staffing shortages, but that was a little bit disappointing. I wanted ice cream more than once. The Park Cafe was a really good little spot to grab a quick bite to eat, a sandwich or a salad. The roast beef sandwich is amazing. I went there and got it a couple of times, and it may have like a little bit of line outside because they're trying to control people coming in and out, but the wait was very short, and we got our food very quickly, and it was delicious. Johnny Rockets. So Johnny Rockets is not always complimentary, but you can go there for breakfast and get a wonderful breakfast. Very home style. They had great breakfast sandwiches, which I got every day, and their bacon was amazing. So order extra bacon if you like delicious bacon. So that's what we did. We even brought some back for our kids because we were always up a little earlier. So I would recommend going down there early because it definitely, there is a wait for breakfast if you go a little later. And after that, it turns into a specialty dining where you have to pay. So if you want great complimentary dining, it's right there. There's also on the boardwalk area right across the way is the Boardwalk Donuts, and they were open pretty much every day in the morning from, I want to say, like 8 to 11. Times varied from day to day, and they had fresh donuts, which you can't get at some of the other places. The Promenade Cafe had, maybe 2 types of donuts, but these had cinnamon sugar donuts and lemon and like a raspberry filled, and they were all delicious. So those were a great little that was a great little spot. That was one of our favorites to go in the morning. The one thing why I didn't say I loved the dining is I felt like there were a lack of options if you weren't doing specialty dining. So they had a great number of specialty restaurants, which we didn't do because we were with our family, and honestly, we just kind of wanted to enjoy the ship and eat together, and we weren't all going to be paying extra, and honestly, I didn't know if it was going to be worth it with my kids. So we stuck to the complimentary restaurants, and they were good, but there weren't a lot of options later at night or throughout the day where you could go get something a little different. So the pizza place, Sorrento's, had pretty decent pizza and some different other Italian fare, but I just thought the variety was a little bit lacking. Everything was good, but I just kind of wouldn't have minded, a taco place or, something that was a burger place or something like that was a little complimentary and more specialty, where I've had that on other ships. Now, for the things that I absolutely loved on the Allure. I loved the activities and the shows. There is no reason to ever be bored on a Royal Caribbean cruise. I've been on several. This was no different. The activities were abundant and they were so much fun. And we did scavenger hunts, which I even we got first place and got a Royal Caribbean medal, which if you've been on a Royal Caribbean cruise lately, you'll know that you'll want to keep that for your next cruise and bring it with you, because the medals are very important in your scavenger hunts. So keep that in mind. Also, too, my kids really enjoyed the flow rider, the rock climbing wall. My husband and I enjoyed that too. The zip line, the mini golf. There are just so many different activities and so many things to do that it was just amazing, and we had so much fun. The rock climbing wall, we barely ever had to wait to go on that. Flow Rider, my advice to you is if you like to do it, go early in the morning. Be the first one there because it gets really busy, especially on sea days. Or if you're not going to a port, they do a lot of times have it open on the ship. So go during your port day if you're not really that enthused about the port and don't really want to go off the ship and want to enjoy some more things on the ship. It's a great time to experience all that. They also had a ton of different trivias. So we did Harry Potter trivia. We did like general trivia. We did ones where it was like different puzzle games. So there's just so much to do, and a lot of it is family friendly. Just pay attention to your app or your cruise compass if you have a question about certain things. Also, the shows were really very well done and very enjoyable. We saw the Aqua Theater show, and it was amazing. The athletes were super talented, and it was just a really enjoyable time. And it was great. We also saw the ice show, which was a lot of fun. My kids really enjoyed it. We sat real close to the front, and they interacted with the performers and got a real kick out of it. And it was a lot of fun. We didn't get to try the ice skating though. We didn't get to do that. The kids weren't super interested in it. But if you do go, please make sure you have to wear long pants. So if you plan on doing ice skating, make sure you bring a pair of long pants with you so that you can go ice skating on the ship. We also had the pleasure of seeing Mamma Mia on the Allure, and it's a full stage production. So sometimes on other ships, you don't get a full production, you get like a condensed version. This was a full 2.5 hours of Mamma Mia, and it was really, really well done. We had a great time. I haven't seen the movie, I haven't seen the show, so I really did like it, and I am an ABBA fan, so if you like ABBA, definitely go. I feel like that kind of 70s feel to things. It's a great show. So that was on the Allure, and I highly recommend it. One thing that I did love everything. The Allure hasn't gone through its update yet. They were supposed to go through their update in 2020, and of course the pandemic happened and that got nixed. So as far as activities, the water area for the kids, they didn't have slides. It was more like a splash pad, and they had like this little, I don't even know if you could call it a lazy river. It was like this little donut shaped water thing that the kids could play in. And the kids had a really good time. I think if we had had more sea days, or if we hadn't gone to Coco Key, that it may have been more of an issue, because my kids do love water and love the water slides. But what they did have there, they did have a lot of fun doing, and they just enjoyed going in the pools as well. If you want to go to the pools and not have a lot of people, go at like 10 o'clock at night. The pools are open till 11, so my kids took advantage of going at like 9:30 and just getting some swimming in at 9:30, 10 o'clock when there weren't as many people there. The one thing too, and I don't know if this is going to be addressed in the future update if the Allure does go through it, is that some of the venues for some of the activities felt a bit cramped. So we went to Dazzle's for a trivia, and we could not find a seat. There were so many people jam-packed in there, and it was a Harry Potter trivia. So I'm not sure if that's just they should have held it at a different venue, but even the other venues seemed a bit small. So if you are going to go to some of these, make sure you're there early if you want a seat. Otherwise, you might be standing or sitting on the floor. Another thing we loved, and is a Royal Caribbean staple on a lot of their Caribbean cruises, is the perfect day at Coco Cay. I'm not sure exactly how they say it. I've heard it said several different ways. But it really offers so much to do. And it was so much fun. We actually paid for the water park, the Thrill Water Park, which we had never been to, and because it's relatively new. So this is our first sailing back to Coco Cay since the pandemic hit. And the water park was a lot of fun. Now, is it worth like $80, $90? Maybe, if you absolutely love water parks. We got a screaming deal during Black Friday. So we got in for like $37 per person and thought it was well worth it. What is great about anywhere on Coco Cay is the fact that you can find seating in the shade. So you don't necessarily need to rent a cabana if you are going and just want to relax. You can find umbrellas, you can find places in the shade. There are so many things to do on the island, and it's so big and vast that it didn't feel like we were on top of people. And the food was so good. I highly recommend you get the brownies and the cookies, and make sure that you save up your appetite for the lunch, which again is all included on the island. You can use your drink package. You can get your Coco Locos to your heart's content. It was great. It really was a perfect day. We had so much fun, and honestly, I don't think that we would need to purchase the Thrill Water Park. I feel like it's a one and done. If you haven't been to it and you want to experience, I think you should do it once, but I don't think I ever need to do it again. The rides were great. The wave pool, kids had a blast in. The drop slides were our favorite. And we even went on the world's or North America's tallest water slide, which was fun, although I did get a little bit of like a burn. So you've been warned. Another thing I loved is the fact that the muster drill is basically all on your phone. So you go through, you watch your videos, you do all, listen to the horns, listen to everything, watch the videos, take a quiz, and then you just go and check into your station, and they give you just a real brief, hey, kids will be brought here if they're in kids club or not with you on the ship, and this is where you meet. And it was so easy, and it was done, and you're not sitting in a crowded corridor for like 45 minutes waiting for the last person to get out. Now, you are getting announcements throughout embarkation day that, hey, so-and-so, please check into your muster drill station, or we have 100 people who still haven't done their muster drill. Just do it right when you get on the ship. Easy, done, and then go enjoy the rest of your embarkation day. And make sure you check in early so you can take full advantage of it. And the last thing that was absolutely my favorite was the coffee at the Promenade Cafe. The best iced coffee I think I have ever had. They have a Starbucks on the Promenade. I like Starbucks coffee. This was amazing. I don't know what they're doing to that coffee. It's so good. I had the drink package. I think I went like 2 or 3 times a day to get like my iced coffee, and I kind of miss it. So definitely head there for your iced coffee, your regular coffee, coffee drinks. They have chai lattes. It's all delicious. And now for the things that I loathed. There weren't a lot, but these are the things that just kind of drove me crazy during the trip. Number 1, the app. The Royal Caribbean app basically is used for scheduling everything, and if you're really not on top of it, you can miss out. The one thing I really didn't like is that you have to basically, as soon as you get on the ship, start planning out every day of what show you want to see, and if it's sold out, then what are you going to do? And it was just kind of annoying, I guess is the best word for it, or frustrating. I found that, we said, okay, we're going to this on this day. We just, I go on vacation. I kind of want to go when I want to go. If I have to wait, and get there a little early, fine. What I did find was, even if something says it's sold out, just go, and you'll usually be able to get in about 5 minutes before the showtime starts. And that happened a couple of times with members in our group who maybe didn't reserve and wanted to go see something. They ended up coming in, and we kind of saved seats, although you're not really supposed to. But we kind of spread out a little bit so we could get seats for people in our group. Also, the comedy shows were like sold out immediately, and my husband and I just decided to go and say, hey, you know what? We're going to just go there a half hour early and wait. And we were like the first people in the standby line, and we got in no problem. So I think what happens is a lot of times people go in and they schedule themselves for everything, and then they get distracted or they get tipsy and they just forget. And you'll more than likely be able to get in. It's just a little frustrating on that part. The other thing is, on the app, it's kind of cumbersome to navigate. So you have to scroll through a bunch of things. You have to click over to different days. You can filter things, but I personally like the cruise compass. And we ended up on like the second day, we were so frustrated with the app that we just asked our room steward, Honeybun, who was amazing. And he brought one into our room every night so that we would know what we wanted to do for the next day. So that was really nice. I like having the physical copy that I can bring around and kind of check off things and see everything all at once. So that is always an option if you are just as frustrated with the app as I was. Another thing about the app is that at the bars, you would have like a couple of the specialty drinks on the menu right at the bar, but the full menu, you would have to basically like scan your phone, the QR code, and it would bring up the menu. But sometimes it didn't always work, or it brought you to just like the general site, and it was, trying to scroll through and then finding the drink that you liked and then getting kicked out. It was just really frustrating. So sometimes I ended up just ordering the same things, or just asking the bartender, hey, can you make me a gin drink or make me a vodka drink? So that was, again, a little bit frustrating. I did purchase the text feature on the app, and it was spotty. It wasn't very consistent, and it wasn't very reliable. So it did help with, meeting people, but it again was a little bit cumbersome and hard to use. So the other thing that I loathed is the photo gallery. So we were kind of looking forward to getting a great family picture with all of us in our entire group. We went with my mother and father-in-law and my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law and their kids. And the photographers weren't that great. We had a lot of pictures where people were eyes closed or moving, and the quality wasn't that great. And then the thing is, you couldn't check right away to see if the picture was any good. We have these phones that basically now we have to carry around because of the app, but you have no way to really see if that picture is any good unless you go to the kiosk on the promenade decks. And that just seems like a big miss for me. It would be so convenient if you could just see the pictures right after you get them, have them on your phone, on the app, or even like maybe half hour later, whatever. Then you could see, okay, great, this one didn't turn out that great. Let's go get another picture somewhere. But sometimes it would be over, or you had to be at a show and you miss out on the opportunity to kind of capture that memory. The other thing is that the pictures, now I know they're going to be expensive. People are going to be like, oh, that's just how they make their money. First off, I think it's such a waste to be printing out all those pictures, half of which are terrible to begin with, and the other half, a lot of times people don't even buy any. I would think that it would be much more beneficial for them just to have a downloadable option. They do have a downloadable option. However, you have to purchase 10 photos in order to get the download. So on other ships from other lines, we were able to just download 1 or 2 pictures. If you pay a little more, okay. But I would rather pay a little bit more for 1 or 2 downloads than spend less for more pictures. I don't know. It just might be me. But I would be more inclined to actually purchase pictures if there was a download option. I didn't have to carry around a picture with me, because what if it gets ruined, or what if I can't fit it in my suitcase, or it gets crumpled and ruined on the way home? I just feel like it would be a better option to be able to purchase those as a downloadable option, get them emailed to you, have them available on the app after for purchase. And I feel like it would reduce waste, and more people would be prone to buying them, especially if you could purchase them post-cruise after you get home. And the lines were insane to try and purchase these pictures. So even if I had wanted a picture, I would have not on the last night been waiting for like 2 hours to purchase a picture. It just was not worth it. So big thumbs down for me. So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. I didn't go through everything, these are just the things that I particularly really liked, loved, or loathed about the Allure of the Seas. But if there's anything else that you want to know about, drop a comment and let me know. Have a great day.